After the echoes of the crowd's applause have faded into silence, can music begin anew? Got to keep moving.
Well, first and foremost, so we could actually get this one rolling, Pixelated Milk will technically define folks behind the much-awaited game SacriFire. Well, a 90s-inspired role-playing game from years ago did just come out and announce a delayed release window of 2023, and said this game's now headed to basically every single platform, in addition to PCs, and to accompany this news, they went on to release a new trailer. Just in case you're wondering, this game is still live through Kickstarter. Take a look.
Damn you! Feel Shale's power!
Like a bird trapped in a cage, we want to fly away. But our wings are slashed into pieces, and we're left in this cold darkness. Is this the life you choose?
Coming up behind that, and technically it's been quite a while since we've had any updates, it is the one and only There Is No Light, a so described dark mode action-adventure game set in some sort of an underworld in a Metroidvania style, where exploring actually does play a pretty natural key here. On the other hand, in terms of overall experience, this game's somewhat close to Dark Souls, but with a dash of Hyperlight Drift added to the mix. Check it out, this one's coming out around September this year.
The path you took is paved with danger and hardship. But at the end of this road, there is no light.
At number 3, so far my own favorite of the past few years pixel art game, we have Sea of Stars, a retro-inspired role-playing game from the developers of The Messenger that's actually been cooking for the past 5 years. This game is pretty much, if you couldn't tell, in the same vein and formula as the old Chrono Trigger, and the closest thing to it too. Reason being, it is being even soundtracked by the same team. Sea of Stars we know releases into PCs and consoles, in addition to Switch, around March next year. Check it out. Initially revealed around the same time last year actually. Up next we have something in case you missed going by the name Replaced. Well, literally the most advanced looking pixel art or just Metroidvania game in the making, considering any other game at the moment, even Sea of Stars, a Microsoft exclusive that's pretty much in the same vein as the much awaited game The Last Night. Technically what is described as a cinematic action adventure game. Check it out, this one's set to be released early to mid next year. At number 5, and well, technically after all the rumors, by Humble Games from earlier this year, we have a pretty brand new platforming game called Moonscars. What the fine folks at the company actually described to be a Souls-like 2D slasher, and one with a non-linear plot in a very difficult dark fantasy world. Frankly, I don't really know much about this one. Right now, here's the trailer. This game is also set to be coming to PCs and Switch sometime later this year.
The strongest feeling of all. But what would happen if someone tried to take this feeling away from you? What would you do for the one you love the most?
Alright, up next, and I've actually mentioned this one maybe once before, so also there's a good chance you might have actually missed out on it. We have Sons of Valhalla, a side-scrolling base-building strategy game that throws you all the way back into the Viking era and technically into the role of a Viking Jarl. Sons of Valhalla is actually sitting on Steam now through a demo. The game is actually pretty darn difficult, but rewarding, and as you've suspected, a summed-up regular clone of the other game called Kingdom. Check it out, this one's coming to PCs only sometime later this year. Alright, moving on at number 7, we have River City Girls 2. Basically now headed to the Nintendo Switch and PCs, other consoles as well, around summer this year. The fine folks behind this one, Wafer, would actually announce this news in addition to another trailer and the premise of an all-new adventure with everything people loved from the first game.
WayForward is back with the sequel to the acclaimed beat-em-up, River City Girls. There's trouble brewing once again in River City, with higher stakes, meaner streets, and even more over-the-top humor. Take control of one of 6 characters, including returning powerhouses Kyoko and Misako. Each character has their own fighting style and upgradable movesets, which you'll need as you set off on a new quest, picking up where the first game left off.
And when we say new, we mean it. New moves, enemies, areas, items, and a new soundtrack by the first game's composer, Megan McDuffie. Not to mention branching paths, as well as a return of a familiar foe. Get the fists flying solo, or team up with a friend, locally or online. What do you say?
At number 8, y'all, we have the one and only retro-inspired action-adventure 16-bit gem, Hunt the Night. Well, first of all, what was described by developers as a game that, if you like Bloodborne and Dark Souls style of gameplay, in addition to the graphic style of a classic Zelda, might be exactly what you'd be looking for. Hunt the Night, we know, is on its way to the PCs and consoles too, Switch included, and due out possibly November this year. A systemic, dark fantasy Metroidvania role-playing game where you're a young Witchcrafter striving to control his power of 4 elements and technically on a journey to find a mythical 5th one to save his father. That was, ladies and gentlemen, pretty much what reads the description for a new game called Witchcrafter Empire Lands. Well, as you can see, a Metroidvania platformer at heart that is set to be coming out by the end of 2022, and for PCs only. Moving on, we have Loot River, technically an island shifting action roguelike game, what was described by developers, and a Microsoft exclusive, pretty much available since early May this year. Now, Loot River, for those of you new, is basically trying to be both Dark Souls and roguelike, mostly Souls-like though, hence the annoying difficulty. Nonetheless, though, the game is pretty fantastic if you're a fan of roguelites. It's fun, addictive, it's got good visuals, and pretty much everything else. Check it out, the game's actually available on PCs and Xbox consoles too. Moving on, and to be quite frank, not really much to talk about with this one here. We have something going on called The Massive Galaxy, a science fiction point-and-click adventure game that actually combines elements of, I don't know, trading and turn-based combat and exploration. Well, here's a trailer. This game's set to be coming to PCs only either late 2022 or up early next year. Alright, now if, let's say you have ever had hands on and enjoyed a Double Dragon game that goes all the way back to the 80s, well, Fading Afternoon here is basically Double Dragon and just with a dash of gunplay, pretty much like the old Moby Dick game. Check it out. The game was announced around the same time last year. It is now finally headed towards PCs and Switch sometime in the September of this year. And this is how it actually looks like. Guys, at number 13, we've actually got, once again, Kynseed, a role-playing game technically about growing up, getting old, and eventually dying. Kynseed, has been available on Steam since about 3 years ago, and through its early access phase with a very positive review score, and has technically just a farming simulation game, taking cues from other games like Stardew Valley. Words has it the full game as a finished product is set to be released by the end of 2022. Take a look.
Fuja e viva!
On the other hand, we have Pocket Bravery. I mentioned this one previously, that the game reminds me a lot of Double Dragon games and Fatal Fury, and actually somehow making it all work, regardless of the combination, and basically bringing a lot of good vibes from Neo Geo Pocket Colors. I'm assuming why the titles even starts with Pocket Bravery. Check it out. This game is set to be coming to PCs with a playable demo available on Steam right now, and the full game due out sometime soon.
Devorador de sombras.
Our freedom.
At number 15, guys, we've got Astral Ascent, which is technically available now on Steam through a demo. Full game is also said to be coming out March next year, and you can still support the game on Kickstarter for just one more pledge goal. Astral Ascent, in case you're wondering, is a Metroidvania-inspired pixel art at heart. As you can see, it even supports local co-op here through 12 levels with 12 different bosses. Check it out. Alright guys, just in case you didn't really catch up, by Sega's original team from all the way back, we did just come across a new 2D entry in the Sonic franchise called Origins, technically including the first 3 Sonic games from all the way back and now remastered in addition to a new game. Check it out, in case you missed it. This game is available now on Steam for PCs and on other consoles too for the price of $40 with very average and mixed reviews. And last but not least, we actually have by Doing Soft and Devolver Digital, once again, something going on here called Gunbrella, set to be released for PCs and Switch only, as a noir punk based platform, actually kind of a run and gun shooter too. Here's a trailer. This game supposedly releasing by the end of this year, if not early next year. Take a look.